All right, you guys, my guest today is a second timer on the show, and we've been working together now for a little while. And with me again, I've got Mr. Lee Jennings. Lee, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks, Brandon. Excited to be here.
Cool. Very cool. So thanks again for jumping on. I know as a busy listing agent as you are, I know how tight time is. So I want to jump right into it and give people as much value as we possibly can, Lee. And so I want to talk to them about what it really takes to be a listing agent in this market today. And so walk us through production wise, how did you end up in 2020? And then we'll jump right into 2021 and what you're doing these days.
Sure. So 2020, I ended up, I was between 10 and 11 million.
Oh, that's right. That's
right. Total volume I did. And in my market, that was like, I think like 16 or 17 deals, maybe something like that.
And commissions was roughly how much last year?
About 265.
Got it. And year to date now in 2021, where are you at from a commissions earned right now?
I'm about the same. I mean, I'm about 91,000.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. And what was the goal for 2021? 15 million?
2021. Yeah. The goal was really like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Obviously it's been a low inventory market, and I've had all these, other things going on that you're privy to that are making that challenging. But, it's been a year that's kind of just like reaffirmed all of the fundamentals,
Exactly right. It always comes back to the fundamentals, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. Like one of the things that I've realized, it's just like, and like another, good friend, Keith Zimmer, who's in the program as well. I was talking to him, recently about it, but it was like, it doesn't matter who you're calling. Just do the activities.
That's right.
And I'm like, I'll admit it. Like I'm pretty good on the phone at this point, and I have found that like, it's so, it sounds trite or cliche, but it's like, if you do the activities, like everything comes to you. That's it.
Well, here's the reality is like people want to overcomplicate everything. And so they discredit simple for not being valuable. So they don't do the fundamentals. And those are the things that get you the results, because you're like, it can't be that simple, Lee. It's got to be more complicated to that. So obviously picking up the phone and talking to people, that's way too simple. Like, give me the fancy stuff. And so let's start off by talking about what lead sources you're calling to get listings right now.
So for sale by owners has been my top pillar from day one. And then for rent by owners, expired, cancel, withdrawn. My niche is, multi-unit buildings. Like I love anything like anywhere from a 2 to a 10 unit is kind of, like I love listing those.
That's great.
Yeah. And then referral partner, and then just anything past client database. I mean, I don't have that many past clients, but the ones I do have are great resources.
Yeah. So you've got a nice, well-rounded business, which we try to get an agent to get to the point where they have 4 or 5 different lead pillars. And so the other cool thing about your business specifically is you're not from the area in which you sell. Like what market are you in?
So I'm in Seattle, Washington.
And you didn't grow up there. Like you don't have a bunch of friends and family just giving you business left and right. These are all strangers for the most part.
Oh, complete strangers. I grew up in Ohio, and I went to college in Oregon, and then I've moved all over the West. And I lived here briefly, like 16 years ago for like a year and a half, 2 years. And I moved away for a long time. And I moved back in January of 2019.
Okay.
So I moved to Seattle, and like, it was scary. I mean, getting into the business, like just, making a move, it's like, whoa, this is going to be intense. And it was.
Yeah. And you've been able to do it. So let's talk through that a little bit. So let's walk through your schedule. What does an average day look like for you when you're really dialed in and you're really getting after it? Walk us through your prospecting schedule and appointments and what that day looks like.
Sure. So my call times are in the morning from, 8 to 11 typically. And I just do your 2 90-minute call blocks. And then I used to get really hung up on what lead source I'm calling. I don't really do that anymore. I
remember that.
Yeah. So I see other people doing that, and I'm just like, I just want to tell them, I'm like, it doesn't matter. You just have to get out there and prospect. So I'm prospecting, like across all my sources. And then my goal really is to do at least 2 preview appointments per day. And I'm really trying to, like in the beginning, I'd preview anything. Now I'm trying to qualify those better. Asking the 2.0 question is critical to that.
Yeah. So So, all right. So that makes sense. So you're calling, you're doing 2 90-minute call blocks in the morning.
Right.
You do a 90-minute, take a break, 90-minute session.
Right.
How often are you able to get your 2 appointments per day right now?
Pretty much every day.
Okay.
Pretty much every day. Yeah.
Now, so there's 2 school of thoughts here, and this is where the skills really come into play. I want to break down today. There's some people like in our program that, well, we'll forget our program. There's just some agents that have a tough time converting the preview type appointment into a client,
right?
Where they almost want it to be converted before they go to the appointment.
Yeah.
And so you're doing kind of like a hybrid approach. And I love how you're like, let's put lead source aside, because I agree with you. These are just human beings, right? So you're doing, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're doing a hybrid between like a highly qualified listing appointment and a highly quality preview appointment. Is that accurate?
Right. I mean, I want to get a quality preview appointment, which in my mind is if I ask the 2.0 question and they say yes, then in my mind, they are open to listing down the road. I mean, they've flat told you.
So I'm under the same belief. So let's walk the people through what is the 2.0 qualifying question that you're asking before you set an appointment.
So it's, Mr. Seller, I know that, with the market being as good as it is right now, you'll probably sell it on your own. But, if you don't sell it on your own, are you open to interviewing an aggressive agent over the next a couple of weeks or months to help you get it sold?
And then they say, yeah, listen, and then if they say anything favorable, you're going for the appointment immediately. Is that right?
Correct. Yep. Oftentimes I've already set the appointment and then I will go to the 2.0 after I set the appointment.
Got it. Okay. So do you continue to go down the script, the questions, or as soon as you have the appointment, are you done off the phone?
I really don't. I mean, I'm pretty much off the phone. If I've set the appointment, like the preview appointment, and I've asked that question and I have a yes answer, then I'm going to flush out everything else at the preview.
Perfect. That's how I want it to be done. And I think there was some confusion that people thought that they had to continue to talk. I'm like, no. The point of the call is to set the appointment, get off the phone and handle everything face to face. So if they answer favorable to that, what do you do to secure the actual, you set the appointment first, the preview appointment first?
Yep. I set the appointment right away.
So walk us through that. Then you ask the qualifying question. Is that right?
Right.
All right.
I can always cancel an appointment.
What's that?
I can always cancel an appointment.
Got it.
So I'm going to get into the call. If I have the seller on the phone, like a live person, then I'm just going to ask for the preview right away.
Got it. So I get you. I get it. So you get the preview. Once they say, yep, I'm good. Then you get into qualifying and then you determine, am I going to keep it or am I not?
Exactly.
It's beautiful. Can you talk about what you're doing there with an expired? Because with the FSBO, I think it's pretty easy, but I like you're using the same approach regardless of lead source. What are you doing to get the preview appointment with an expired?
So on the expired, I'm doing a little prior to calling expireds, like every morning, like probably between 7 and 8 a.m. I'm researching all the new expireds like in my market. I want to get a feel for what happened a little bit, prior to the call. And then when I'm calling, I'm basically using your script, which is Brandon.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Hey, so I noticed that your home came off the market. And I was just curious what happened.
It's a good question. We don't know. I mean, we thought things were going well and it started off good, bunch of showings, and then kind of just fell off the map and communication from the agent kind of disappeared. And, here we are.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's it's gotta be really frustrating. Well, I'm looking over the listing right now and sort of how it was marketed. And, there are some things that I think would be helpful to you. I was just going to see, are you possibly going to be available? Could I just come by and take a quick look at the property this afternoon, maybe around 3:00?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Okay. I'll be in your neighborhood. I'll just pop by. It probably won't take me, any more than probably 10 or 15 minutes, but I will see you then.
Perfect. And okay, great. Is that it?
That's it.
That's amazing. And so when you get to the appointment, So the argument, I'm telling you right now, you're going to see the comments in the YouTube video when we upload this. They're like, wait a minute. Well, that's not a quantity. That's not a qualified appointment. So how do the appointments go when you get there?
So, and this is kind of the crux of what we're talking about. I think this is like, I'm in that growing pains phase where I'm going from like fledgling listing agent, like over to mastery.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest skills we learn is like, obviously you want to be qualifying as much as you possibly can, but you also want to get the face-to-face.
That's right.
Well. And so it's this constant sort of, conflicting balance between those things. I'll be honest. I mean, if I go on 2 preview appointments per day, which is like 10 a week, I would say 6 or 7 of those I would deem high quality, where I walk out of the preview and say to myself, okay, I have a real shot of actually listing that property.
Yeah. That makes sense, because you, with your skills, I think what's happening, to give the audience context, is you are a great listener because you don't have to think about what you have to say anymore. Right. You could call any lead, any market. You're not worrying about a script anymore. So you're really keen in listening for motivation, and when there's a real opportunity and when there's not. And so right. I think to be fair to this conversation, that's what happens when you build a skill set. It's like, I don't need to say anything more. I know this is a seller I want to meet with, how they're responding to my questions. I can hear their tone, their rate of speech. I can see they're motivated. And so I just want that face-to-face. I don't care about anything else because I know what's going to happen when I get there. So when you get on the appointment, how do those typically go? Like, give us the 80%, not the 20%. The 80% of the time, how do they go?
So, I mean, that's the thing about doing these previews in general that's like amazing to me, is that I go on these and, they're typically fairly short, maybe like 20 to 30 minutes. But, I'm doing Ford, I'm doing family, occupation, recreation dreams. I'm trying to flesh out all the motivation, obviously look at the property, but, I'm good at building rapport and that.
Yeah.
All of that. So that comes easily to me. And I'll be honest with you, like, like I'm saying, 60, 70% of the time, I'm walking out of that preview saying, okay, I have a great relationship with this seller. It's definitely a listing opportunity.
Go. I was going to say, how do you know, like, how do you get to that point? Because for me, for a preview appointment, for me to call it a success, like you're calling it a success, here's my key thing. If I ask this question, I know it's a real opportunity. And that question is this: I have the CMA in front of me, and I go and we talk about like timing and days on market, and I circle the days on market and I say, Lee, I guess let me just be open with you. I mean, if you get to the point where you haven't sold your house in the next 17 days, which is what all your competition is doing, would you give me an opportunity to earn your business and share with you what I could do to get your property sold? And I ask them really, really straightforward, really forthcoming. And if they say, yeah, Brandon, we like you. We like how this meeting went. We'd give you the opportunity. Well, I feel great about it. What are you doing to determine whether or not you got the opportunity or not?
That's essentially the exact same thing I'm doing. So I'm just asking a similar question like that, towards the end of it.
Perfect.
And that's, I would say probably 80 to 90% of agents simply won't ask that question. And
that's exactly right.
That's what differentiates. Like, that's really all it comes down to a lot of the time.
It's that. And so I have to go do a coaching session after this video with our members around asking the question, because they're simply not asking it. And if you don't ask it, I guess, let me get your opinion, because you have so much experience and I know you're coaching agents and helping mentor agents. Why do you think people can succeed in listing property by just being nice? Or do you feel like they got to be able to ask for the business? They have to deal with that at some point.
It's the critical piece. It's absolutely the most critical piece. You can be nice and you may even pick up a few listings by being nice, and having really great rapport. But if you won't ask for the business, then you're never going to turn the corner.
I love it. And that's why I love this book so much. I make all the agents I mentor read this book over. I know you're a huge fan. Mm-hmm. This is such a wonderful book, and how Jeb puts it about asking people for the sale. It's like, you got to get over the fact of not asking, because if you can't ask, you really can't be in sales. You know what I mean? And so you got to get over that fear. All right. So then you've got a good meeting. I think you said maybe out of 10, how many do you feel like you come out of there with you feeling you've got a real shot at getting the listing? Would you say?
I would say probably out of 10, maybe maybe like 5 or 6, probably I have a real shot.
Got it.
And then out of those 10, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm probably actually listing 1 or 2 of those.
Absolutely.
And then, and then at that point you're shifting and it all comes down to follow up.
That's right. So we're going to talk about that. And so that's meeting the conversion KPIs perfectly from preview appointment to listing contract. It should be about a 20% conversion. If you're running the preview appointment conversion strategy, which you are on all lead sources. Right. So how are you following up? Give us a high level overview of how you're converting that from preview appointment to contract.
So the follow-up, I'm essentially following your system, but I'm doing, sometimes I'm doing a little bit overkill on it, but I'm doing a Monday call, a Wednesday email and a Friday text.
Yep.
And I mean, and then one thing you taught me very early on, it was probably when I first got into the program, was, have your hot sheet all the time of like your top 15 prospects or whatever that is. And so I'm probably texting them or calling them daily. I mean, it's, and that's critical.
That's critical. So there's 2 big nuggets, you guys, that Lee and I just talked about that really move the needle in your business. One is asking for the business, asking for an opportunity. People really respect that. And when you ask for it, they'll give it to you. And then 2, having your hot leads on a tangible piece of paper or a folder that you're physically touching and looking at daily, because that's where the conversion, I think, really lives, Lee, is like your ability to just stay top of mind with these people constantly, because they got so many agents calling them, and the agents that are getting the listings have the most aggressive lead follow-up. It's real simple.
It's almost like that qualifying question. Agents don't want to make the follow-up call. Like people almost struggle more making the follow-up call than they did, making that initial call, which is crazy, but it's true. People just are uncomfortable with it.
And I'll tell you why. It's because they didn't ask for the business on the first meeting or the first call. So they have nothing to say on the follow-up call versus if you ask for the business and they say, yeah, Lee, we're open to that idea. Well, now when I'm following up, I'm following up on that opportunity. Hey, when we spoke before, you had mentioned that if you couldn't sell the property in 17 days, that you might be open to looking at some other options. I'm following up to see, are you open to that at this time? Right? There's a purpose for the call. So it makes sense. If an agent doesn't do that, they're like, shit, I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to follow up with other than, hey, I'm just checking in, and there's no value with that.
Right. Well, and it's also like, if you're keeping that conversation going, if you follow up and let's say you have maybe, like anywhere from 3 to 7 conversations after that initial preview, your chance of converting the business is just higher. I mean, that's
So what are you like? How many listings right now? So we're doing this at the end of May. How many listings do you typically take? What is your goal every month?
My goal is essentially 1 listing per week.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so how many listings do you carry typically? Like how many listings do you have active, pending, all that right now?
So I've got, right now I'm a little light. I've got 3. I had a brutal spring. I lost 2 like really, well, what I thought were pretty quality listings, but I took some listings where there were some, I guess there were some landmines, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where it was like, quirkier properties or things that were more difficult to sell and, didn't end up selling them. I mean, I think every agent's dealt with that at some point.
Absolutely.
So I had a couple of those, and in my market, they're extremely expensive because they're, everything here is over $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are you managing? I think another thing, when people get to your level where they start making $250,000, $300,000 a year, primarily with listings, I don't even know if you work with buyers at all right now. How are you managing a pipeline and keeping how do you manage the existing pipeline and then keep new leads coming in the top?
So that's something where, one thing that I'm doing right now is I'm probably going to bring on a virtual assistant just to help with my lead flow, like just all the prep.
Yeah.
Like as far as working through expireds and just making sure, a little, just all of that sort of busy work, because I want to be prospecting. I don't want to be doing any of that other work.
Yeah.
So
smart.
That's something I'm going to be doing probably like over the next few weeks. But, other than that, it's kind of funny. It's, it's a grueling thing to be doing this solo, but it's also probably the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. I mean, really.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the honest truth about the work that we do. It's really hard. It's really gratifying. It's the hardest work in sales, but it's the most effective, and it's where all the money is. It's probably why most agents are avoiding it like crazy. They want to do everything but pick up the phone.
Right.
As you look forward in your career, what do you see long-term? Like, what is the vision for you long-term with this industry and with your newfound skill set?
My goal is to, hit $1 million GCI as a solo agent.
Yeah.
And that's my like North Star. That's where I want to get to.
I love it.
Yeah. That's like the overarching thing.
What do you think needs to happen? Obviously more time has to go past, right? And you're still building systems into your business. But if you fast forward, let's pretend you're making $1 million in GCI. What's different about that business that you don't have in place right now?
That's the amazing thing about my business right now, is that it's almost like I can see it. I just have to do more of what I'm doing right now and not overcomplicate. Simplifying, doing the fundamentals, doing more of it. That's right. The crazy part is I feel like I have the roadmap. So I feel very empowered right now. I'm like, I know exactly what I need to do. I just need to just make it even simpler, more robotic, and like push forward that way.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I mean, I think that the key thing is to leverage out of as many non-dollar productive things as possible, so that all you do is make sales calls and go on appointments.
Right.
And everything else is leveraged out. And it's almost like being an ISA, but you have a license to list and sell homes,
Right. All that I want to be like, all I want to do is prospect and present. And
that's it.
That's it.
And my gosh, it's so simple, but so many agents cannot accept that. I don't know how many times I got to tell people you're either on an appointment or you're looking for one, and everything else is a waste of time, but everybody does everything else but those two things. If you follow an agent around, they don't spend any time looking for appointments, and they don't go on any appointments. Right. And so what pieces of advice, if you coach a brand new agent, what advice would you give to a brand new agent that wants to succeed in this business?
So eliminate your distractions. I mean, because, as you've said, you have to have a monk-like discipline to become a top listing agent. So eliminate all the distractions, and, you're going to have to invest a little bit, in your business, but, just don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. I mean, the people who I've met, over the last year who are successful in this business, they have very, very simple strategies that they're using consistently every single day.
It's great. It's great advice. And that's where that saying came from. Simplicity is genius. Mm-hmm. Simplicity is actually harder than complexity. And I think because of how we started this interview off, agents want to believe that it's more complex than it is. They have a tough time accepting that if you just do push-ups, if you just go up and down, you're going to build muscle. No. It's got to be special shoes. I got to do it a certain way. No. Right. And so it's so true in real estate. It's like, no, you just got to pick up the phone. Well, what do I say? Doesn't matter. Who should I call? Doesn't matter. You just got to pick up the phone and talk to humans, and you're going to list homes,
Right. Exactly. And it's sort of ironic, because when I first got into the business, I was like, it seemed like there was just like all these things swirling around me and all these people trying to sell me things.
I know.
And over the last, 18 months, that has just that's kind of quieted down, because I know exactly what I need to do.
You've probably been able to say no to everything, because you can just you have the blinders on, it works, and you just got to execute. So if people want to learn more or connect more with you, or potentially join your team at EXP, how can they find out more about you? Where can they connect with you?
Just have them text me directly. My cell is 206-419-8303. And I can send them a pitch deck that kind of has some video on me and kind of explains essentially my journey in real estate. I just joined EXP last September. And so
you've had a great experience there, from my understanding. Is that right?
It's been incredible. It's been totally incredible. And I've built a team now. It's not a huge team, but it's way bigger than I thought it would be. And I really, I mean, I never imagined myself being like a recruiter. I always just wanted to be, you know, a top producer.
Yeah.
But I'm finding that I'm loving it.
Yeah. So I'll put Lee's contact info. I'll put his number below this video. But you're right. It's like, I think through mentoring people, you actually get better and grow yourself.
Yes.
That's exactly what I find.
Yeah.
As I train and coach more people, my skills grow too, you know?
Right.
And that's the thing people don't realize through leadership. You can call it recruiting, leadership, coach, whatever you want to call it. Through helping other people, we grow at the same time. And that's probably a part that you really like, because knowing who you are, like I told you before the interview, you're an amazing human being. And I think the people on your team really benefit from that. And so if you guys want to reach out to Lee, I'm sure he'll talk to you at any time you guys want. I'll put all his social media stuff beneath this video. Lee, thanks again for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's a lot of fun. I love the work that we do together. And again, we'll just stay connected, keep rocking and rolling, brother.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
You got it. Talk to you soon.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.